So we are live.
Uh, Thank you, Rishabh. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So, hello guys. Trust all you are doing well, right? So, in our previous masterclass, we have discussed about P ratio and PV ratio, right? So we have seen the formula and we have seen the derivation also, right? And we have discussed that what is the importance of P and PV ratio, right? And I took several stock examples, right? There I have shown you company PE and industry PE, right? And how you can compare company PE and industry PE. And also we have discussed about PV ratio, right? What actually is PV ratio we have seen, right? And what is the relevance of PV ratio by looking at live data, right? So these all things what we have done, we have covered in previous lecture, right? So till now, we have discussed about cost of equity, cost of preference shares, cost of debentures, cost of loan, right? And we have discussed in detail lots of things, right? So today I will be discussing the standard deviation part, right? Now, with the help of P ratio, we have seen whether to invest or not, right? So with the help of P ratio, what you will be doing or what you were doing, you were analyzing what is the difference between market price and EPS, right? So we were comparing market price and EPS of companies, right? Now I will be starting that how to measure the risk of security. This is the another important aspect when you're investing. So you should know that what risk security is carrying with itself, right? So being an investor, what you will be doing, you will be doing two type of analysis, right? One is going to be risk analysis and second is going to be return analysis, right? We say it as a risk and return analysis, right? So now I will be focusing on risk part, right? That what is a risk attached with any security, right? Now, because before starting security discussion, I will be taking some simple examples for you, so you should understand that what actually is risk, right? Now, there are several methods to find out the risk, right? So I will be starting with standard deviation. This is the first important method with the help of which what you can do, you can find out risk, right? Now, it is not necessary that with the help of standard deviation, you will be able to only find the risk of security or risk related to security, right? There could be several other things for which what you can do, you can use standard deviation, right? So let's suppose if you are in school, right? Let's suppose I am taking my own example. I am a professor, right? Now I want to analyze the performance of a student, right? So what I can do, I can use a standard deviation to check the performance of student, right? How student will be performing in coming days. I can find out this thing with the help of standard deviation, right? Let's suppose if I take example of cricketer, right? So coach want to analyze the performance of cricket player, right? They want to select, let's suppose there are 20 players. Out of 20 players, let's suppose coach wants to select 11 players, right? Now how we will select 11 players out of 20, right? So there are various methods, right? One of the method is standard deviation. With the help of standard deviation also, what coach can do, coach can find out that which player is suitable for T20, which player is suitable for one day match, and which player is suitable for test match, right? So if I talk about VVS Lakshman, right? So VVS Lakshman, he was a test player. Rahul Dravid, he was a test player. Most of the time, what coach used to do, what selector they used to do, they used to keep Dravid and Lakshman for test match, right? But if I talk about MS Dhoni or if I talk about Virat Kohli, they are hitters, right? So what usually coaches do, they select MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli for T20 matches, right? Or you can say one day matches, right? But if I talk about Sehwag, right? Sehwag, he is a hitter, right? So definitely he will be playing one day match and test match, and sometimes, not sometimes, he every time plays one day and T20, and most of the time coaches they select Virendra Sehwag for test match also. So he is a long-term player. He hits and he scored 200, 300 runs, right? So now if coach want to find out that out of 20 players, which player is suitable for T20 and which player is suitable for test match, so they can use this standard deviation method, right? So I will be taking the examples of cricket player, and we will understand that how you can find out that which cricket player is suitable, right, for matches. Now further, I will be taking the example of real securities, right? So first I will be starting with the cricket player. I will be sharing the Excel file here. So with the help of Excel, you will be able to understand in a better way, right? So I am taking example of Virat Kohli. And another player, another example which I will be taking here. Let's suppose Rohit Sharma. I'm taking the example of Rohit Sharma here, right? I'm taking the example of Rohit Sharma. Right now, if I take example of Virat Kohli, So both are hitter players, right? But I will be making different assumptions because nowadays I don't watch a cricket match, so I don't know that who plays like Dravid, who is a playing like a wall, right? Slow player. I don't know. So what I will be doing, I will be making my own assumptions, right? So here, what I will be doing, I will be taking matches. Huh? So let's suppose each player, uh, they have played 10 matches, and with the help of 10 matches, past 10 matches, coach want to decide or selector want to decide which player is suitable, right? Let's suppose they are going for another series, right? Out of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, they have to select the player, right? Now, if I talk about Virat Kohli, so Virat Kohli, he now when he became captain, so he became very mature, right? So what he tries to do, he tries to stay in the ground, right? Rather than hitting and rather than getting out, what he tries to do, he tries to stay in ground, right? So he is quite stable player, right? Even though Rohit Sharma, he's also a stable player. But for my assumption, what I will be doing, I will be taking Virat Kohli most stable. Virat Kohli is a most stable player, right? Now, let's suppose Virat Kohli in one match he scored 55 runs. In one match he scored 50 and 55 runs. In second match, he scored 45 runs. In one match, he scored 0 runs. In another match, he scored, let's suppose, 60 runs. Then let's suppose 57, then 40, then 43, then 48, then 52. Right? This is how Virat Kohli hits the run, right, or scores the run. Now, if I talk about Rohit Sharma, in first match he has scored 110. In second match he got out at 0. In third match he has scored 10 runs. In fourth match, let's suppose he has scored 140 runs, right? Then he got out at 0. He scored 2 runs. Then in fifth match he scored 150 runs, right? Then he got out at 0, right? Again he scored 15 runs, and in next match he scored 90 runs, right? Now, if I do the total, so if you see what is the total here, total of Virat Kohli is 450, right? In a series, in previous series, Virat Kohli, he has scored total run, that is 450. And if I talk about this player, so he has scored 517 runs, right? So Rohit Sharma, he scored more runs. If you see, if I calculate the average here, so what is the average? Average means if I take the sum of all the 10 matches and divide it by 10, so I will be getting the average, right? So here I will be applying the formula of average. And if I select all the numbers here, so average score of Virat Kohli is 45, and average score of Rohit Sharma is 51.7, right? On an average, the score of Rohit Sharma is high, right? Now, if you see here, now if I calculate standard deviation, right? Now, there is a formula in Excel. With the help of Excel, what you can do, you don't have to follow the long method, right? There is a long method. For that, what I will be doing, I will be putting another video where we will be solving the standard deviation manually. But right now, I won't be solving it manually. I will be using the standard deviation formula, right? So just let me first calculate the standard deviation. Then after that, I will be telling you that what actually is standard deviation, right? So here I will be applying the formula STD EV dot P, right? This is the formula for standard deviation. And you can see STD V dot P, right? And what we have to do, we have to select these numbers and we have to press enter here, right? So if you see, what is the standard deviation? Standard deviation of Virat Kohli is 16, right? If I calculate the standard deviation, so manually, I will write down the formula. So again, you can see the formula, it will be better for you. So here, standard deviation of Rohit Sharma is, if you see the standard deviation of Rohit Sharma is 60, right, which is very high, right, which is very high. A standard deviation of, yeah, so standard deviation of Virat Kohli is 16 and standard deviation of Rohit Sharma is 59, right? Now, what is the standard deviation? Standard deviation, calculates the risk. Now, how standard deviation calculates the risk? Standard deviation calculates the risk from average, right? So this is the average of Virat Kohli, right? This is the average of Virat Kohli, and this is the average of Rohit Sharma, right? This is the average of Rohit Sharma, right? So if you see, average of Virat Kohli is 45 and average of Rohit Sharma is approximately 52, right? Now, if you see from average, right, standard deviation generally it will be telling you deviation in the scores, right? Now, when Virat Kohli will be playing the next match, right? If let's suppose Virat Kohli is going for next series, so how many runs he will be scoring, right? So his average score is how much? His average score is 45, right? Now, standard deviation means it may go up by 16 runs or it may go down by 16 runs, right? So there are chances that Virat Kohli may score 45 plus 16, right? So his runs may deviate by 16 runs, right? So in next match, most probably he may score 61 runs or more than 61 runs. But we are making here estimate, right? I can't give you assurance that this formula will 100% work, but definitely it will be giving you idea that how Virat Kohli will be playing in next matches, right? And if you see, if let's suppose he's not able to play well, so he will be able to score approximately 30 runs, right? So what 16 shows here that the Virat Kohli may score more runs, right, as compared to its average. So you will be calculating the risk from average, right? So here the average of Virat Kohli is 45. So 45 से ऊपर भी जा सकता है, कितने रनों से 16 से 20 रन के बीच में ऊपर भी जा सकता है, 16 से 20 रन में नीचे भी आ सकता है, right? So here Virat Kohli will be scoring this much runs, right? If you see here, if I talk about this Rohit Sharma, so he may score century also, right? And if he's not playing well, so definitely the runs won't be negative, but still if you see, he may score 0 runs. So here I will be taking it 0, right? Instead of -8, you can assume it as a 0. Here I'm writing here 0. So which player is more risky? Obviously Rohit Sharma is more risky, right? Now let's suppose team requires consistent player, right? Let's suppose in a team there are 6 batsmen, right? Out of 11, let's suppose Indian team is having 6 batsmen, right? 6 batsmen, right? Now let's suppose team requires 1 more batsman, right? Now there is an option of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. There is an option of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Now you just let me know which player they should select. So first, what our team will be doing, they will be analyzing the performance of 6 players, right? Now let's suppose out of 6 players, here I'm taking example. Let's suppose here out of 6 players, just a moment. Yeah, out of 6 players, if I talk about consistent player, right? If I talk about consistent player, so let's suppose out of 6 players, 1 player is consistent and 5 players are hitters, right? 5 players are hitters means risky, right? If their bat connects with ball, definitely team will be getting a 6 or 4. But if their bat is not connecting with ball, so definitely they will get out, right? So if you see here, out of 6 player, 1 player is consistent and 5 players are hitter, right? So definitely what team will decide or what team will prefer Virat Kohli. Because why they will prefer Virat Kohli? Because obviously they will be, obviously team is having 5 hitters, so at least they should have 2 stable players, right? If let's suppose hitters, they are not able to perform, so obviously hitters, stable players, they will be scoring the run, right? So here definitely they will be giving the preference to Virat Kohli. Why? Because Virat Kohli's standard deviation is low, right? If standard deviation is low, obviously Virat Kohli is less risky player, right? If I take example of MS Dhoni, right? So even though let's suppose team is playing very bad, right? And out of let's suppose in 30 ball, team has to score 70 runs. And if Virat Kohli is in the pitch now, so definitely not Virat Kohli. If MS Dhoni, he is in pitch, he's playing, he's doing batting. So definitely, all Indians, they believe if MS Dhoni is there, we can score 70 runs easily, right? Even though MS Dhoni is a 10th player, we can score there. We are having hope if MS Dhoni is playing at that time, right? So here, if I talk about stability, so Virat is more stable. So if you see here, consistent players are 1, hitter is 5. So to whom preference will be given out of 2? So obviously here, Virat Kohli will be getting the preference, right? And let's suppose if a situation is just opposite of it, right? Let's suppose here, consistent players are 5 and hitter is only 1. So obviously here Rohit Sharma will be getting preference, right? So here team wants to take less risk and they will be giving opportunity to Virat because his standard deviation is low, right? But here, if team wants to take risk because already they are having 5 consistent players, so here they will be giving opportunity to Rohit Sharma, right? This is about standard deviation. From mean, what you will be doing, you will be calculating the risk, right? Hopefully you got the idea. Now, what I will be doing, I will be taking the real stock data here, and we will try to find out the standard deviation, right? So, how you can fetch the real data if you want to find out the real data. So what you can do, you can go to, Yahoo Finance. You just write down yahoofinance.com in Google, right? yahoofinance.com. Now, from here, what you can do, you can fetch the data of company, right? So here, let's suppose I can take data of any company. So I will be taking data of Reliance Limited. Here I will be taking the data of Reliance Limited, right? So historical data. If you see current price of Reliance is 2,500. So here what I will be doing, if you want to find out standard deviation, so you require past performance of company, right? So here I have fetched the stock price of Reliance Limited. Here you can see data is given, right? So here what I will be doing here, data is given for 1 year, and you can select data of 5 years even if you want, right? So if you want more exact result, so what you can do, you can select data of 5 years or more than 5 years, right? But here for your understanding, what I will be doing, I will be taking daily data. And instead of 5 years data, what I will be doing, I will be taking here 1 month data. I will be taking here 1 month data. Okay. So here I'm clicking on OK. Okay. And here I will apply. Right. So here you can see now we are having 1 month data here. Right. We are having 1 month data here. Right. Now, what you can do, guys, here, if you want to download Excel, so directly, if you are clicking on download, so you will be getting the Excel file. Right? But instead of clicking on download, what I will be doing, I will be copying this data directly into Excel. Right? So I have selected this data here, right? And I will copy and I will paste this data into this Excel sheet. Right? So yeah, so I've written here. I selected the data here. I've pasted the data here. Now, if you see, I don't require these all unnecessary things: opening price, high price, low price, closing price. I don't want this data. So what I will be doing, simply I will be deleting this data. Right? I want only adjusted closing price. Right? Here I will be removing this data. Right? I don't want volume. So I require only date and adjusted closing price, right? Now, if you want to find out the performance of company with the help of stock price, right? If you're planning to invest into stock. So here I took monthly data. I will suggest you to take at least CLE data, right? But for your better understanding, right? I have taken monthly data. So you can see the whole screen, right? What I'm actually doing. So if you are able to see the whole screen, so it will be giving you better clarity, right? Now, if you see here, so you are able to see whole screen, right? So first, this is the share price data, right? So on 26th May, the share price of Reliance was 2,587. Then you can see there every day the price is changing, right? And today the current price is 2,500, right? This data is for 24th June. So what is the current price? Current price is 2,500, right? Now, first, what you have to do, you have to calculate the return, right? First, you have to calculate the return. Now, how you will be calculating the return, guys, here? If you want to calculate the return, right? So let's suppose on 23rd June, you have invested the money. What do you have to do right now? You have to make the assumption. Let's suppose on 23rd June, you have made the investment, right? So let's suppose you have acquired 1 share, and what was the cost of share? The cost of share was 2,464, right? Cost of share was how much? 2,464. Now on 24th June, the share price is 2,500, right? Now if I ask you that how much return you have generated, right? So in rupees, if I ask you, so you will say that, sir, we have generated, here I will write down return in rupees. Okay, so you will be able to understand better. So if I ask you to calculate return is rupees, so you have invested how much? You have invested 2,464, and what is the current price? Current price is 2,500, right? So if you are selling the share today, so you will be getting 2,500, and how much you have invested? You have invested 2,464. So return is in rupees is how much? It is 35 rupee, right? So if you have purchased 1 share, so how much return you have generated in rupee? That is 35, right? Now, let's suppose if you have invested your money on 22nd June, and if you're selling your share on 23rd June, you have purchased on 22nd June and you are selling on 23rd June. So what is going to be your return? So if you have acquired share on 22nd June, so definitely you would have paid 2,505. And what is the price on 23rd June? Price is 2,464. So here you will make loss, right? So here what we have to do, we have to find out the profit and loss for every day, right? So I will be pasting the data here. Right. So here we won't be getting any data because here we don't have data of previous day. So here I will be deleting this cell, right? So you can see this much return you are generating, right? Now, if I ask you to find out return in terms of percentage, return in terms of percentage. So how you will calculate the return in terms of percentage, right? So here you have earned a profit of 35 rupees, right? How much you have invested? You have invested 2,464. Next day, when you are selling these shares or share, so you're getting 2,500 rupees. Now, in terms of percentage, if I ask you to calculate, so how much you have invested? You have invested 2,464, right? So what is going to be the formula if you want to find out return in terms of percentage, right? How much interest bank charge if you want to calculate? So how you will be calculating? So you will say, sir, interest divided by principal amount, right? You will say, sir, if I want to calculate interest in terms of percentage, so you will say, sir, interest divided by principal amount, right? So let's suppose you took a loan from bank. That is how much it is, 1 lakh rupees, right? And what bank is doing? Bank is giving you interest of 8,000 rupees, right? So what is going to be your return in terms of percentage? Your return in terms of percentage is going to be 8,000 divided by 1 lakh. So that is going to be 8% approximately. No, why approximately? It is 8%. Yeah. Similarly, if you want to find out the return in terms of percentage, so what you should do, you should select the return here, right? You should select the return and divide it by principal amount, right? So what is the principal amount here? Obviously, the amount which you are investing, that is going to be the principal, right? Or invested amount. If you click here, so you will be getting the percentage in terms of return, right? So how much percent return you are able to generate? You are able to generate 1.42%, right? Now, simply what you have to do, if you want to calculate it for all the days, so you have to copy this data, right? So you will be getting percent returns in terms of percent, right? Now, if I want to calculate the standard deviation, right? So first step is going to be that I have to calculate the average, right? So I will be calculating the average. I will be putting the formula here, average, and open up the bracket and select all the values and press enter here, right? So you can see what is the average here. Average is 0.14%. It means on an average, every day you are generating return of minus 0.14%, right? This is your return on an average every day, right? Now, if I ask you to calculate standard deviation, so what you will be doing, you will be putting up the formula, right? Simply you have to put the formula, that is stdev.p, right? Open up the bracket and select all the values, right? You have to select all the values here, right? And press enter here. Now, if you see here, so what is the standard deviation in terms of percentage if I calculate? So standard deviation is approximately 2%, which is very less, So, it shows the movement in security, right? It shows the movement in security. So let's suppose on 24th June, if you're buying the shares at 2,500 rupees, right? If you're buying the shares at 2,500 rupees, so, the return, whatever return you're expecting, it may vary by 2%, right? It may vary by 2%, right? सो आपका रिटर्न क्या हो सकता है 2% से या तो ऊपर जा सकते हैं या तो नीचे जा सकते हैं तो ज्यादा रिस्की नहीं है 2% is not that much risky, right? So let's suppose if you have acquired share at 2,500, let's suppose on 24th June you have acquired share on 2,500, so it may go up by 2%, right? So 102 if I take, so it may reach 2,550 rupees, or if market condition is not good, so it may reach, I will take 98%. Right, so it will fall by 2% and it may reach 2,450 rupees, right? So here if you see, so it may go up by 50 rupees or it may go down by 50 rupees, right? If you see here. So this is the risk attached with Reliance Limited, right? So if you want to invest into safer security, so what you can do before investing into Reliance Limited, you can take certain same company share and you can do the analysis, right? You just write down the data in Excel and find out which company is having less in standard deviation. Accordingly, what you can do, you can invest your money into shares, right? So guys, we have discussed about standard deviation. In next lecture, I will be discussing about the beta, right? In case if you are having any doubt in any concept which I have discussed today, you just put your query in comment box and I will be taking your query personally, right? I will be writing down the answer for your query in chat box itself, right? So just write down your query in chat box. And we will be discussing about beta in next lecture, right? So stay tuned with us for better and more